tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads from over 200 countries and your number one source in after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Yeah, I get it. What? That's right, I said it. Come on, Chevonne. Come on, do you know the dance? Welcome to the Bad Girls Club. Bad Girls. Yo, what up, AfterBuzz? It's your boy DJ Jesse Janedy here in studio for the Bad Girls Club Chicago Season 12 after show. I'm joined in studio by the lovely Chevonne Hughes.
Hi.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest with us for the first time ever in Bad Girls Club after show history. We are bringing in the one, the only, the very stylish, I must say.
Well, thank you very much.
The life coach lady, in the words of Blue, Miss Laura Barry. How are you?
Good, good. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for coming in. But let's start with that first note, because the one thing that we have said consistently is your style on the show.
Yeah.
I love it. It's a clean, a classic look, and your hair is always fluffed out and laid.
Thank you. You know, it's funny when I saw the show back, the very first, she was super sweet, the girl who first did my hair, but she didn't necessarily, and you know this, she didn't necessarily know like thick hair.
Right.
So I like walked in with full on Texas hair. You know, I came into the house like, take me seriously, girls. You know, and I had like weird flipped out. So as the season progressed, you saw that I just had like a normal, because I was like at home, flat ironing, pulling that stuff out. I was like, I cannot do that again.
And Red had a very strong reaction to your first meeting and how you looked. She was really intimidated by
Tell us that. What was that like?
The hair and the makeup. And
could you feel that presence with Red, or?
Of course. Here's the thing. I believe in, you know, I would say this to everybody, and especially women. You don't apologize for where you're at. You know, you don't dumb yourself down, and you don't ask people to step up. There is no leveling here. So I was going to walk in as a professional woman as I would walk in to any situation. And to be honest with you, I didn't care. I did not care if they were intimidated. I didn't care if they stuck on the shoes. I didn't care. That was their issue, not mine.
And you had to expect it a little bit going into this type of a show.
Of course. But you know what? I also ran a food pantry for the homeless in Chicago for several years. And they were the ones who actually taught me this lesson, where I ran home one day after a client. I didn't run home. I ran to the pantry one day after a client, and I was totally decked. And I was like trotting around and serving food. And one of the girls was like, oh my God, I love your, you know, whatever she complimented it. And I realized like, we really need that for each other. You know, when you meet somebody really, truly for where you are, they appreciate it. And I loved her scarf. And it became a new language. And I took her advice and then passed it along to my clients to say, you know, you don't apologize for how you dress, where you are, where you've come from. Yeah.
I love that actually as a segue to kind of starting the episode. This was the finale episode, a big episode for you to kind of talk to the girls and just kind of look back at the work that you've put in for this show.
Yeah.
So with that, this was the first season that they wanted to bring in a life coach. Now, I know that they had started to want to do it at the beginning of Bad Girls, and it kind of got lost out. You get a phone call. You know, how did this come along in order? How were you approached to it, or did you think, you know, was this something that you brought to the table, or how did it all kind of all the pieces fall together?
So, Bad Girls was the one show that I never wanted to do. True story. I had never watched it, but all I heard about it was that it was basically Springer on heels.
Yep.
And
that's a really accurate
right?
description of the show. Yeah.
And you know, I mean, as a professional where I go in and help people, the idea that there were so many unresolved issues lingering out. And I am a big believer, by the way, in reality television being able to be transformational. You get well-intended people, you get truthful, people in a cast, and well-intended producers and network execs, and there are plenty of them out there. There are plenty of good people in this industry. I do believe in the transformational power of TV. So the idea that there was a show that kind of threw, especially women, in a situation where they were eating each other's faces off and nothing ever happened at the end bugged me. So when I was first approached,
had you gone back and watched any seasons or okay?
No, I just knew about it.
You just knew about it.
You just know.
Yeah.
You just get the flavor. Do you need to taste coffee ice cream?
No.
I think you would have been scared off had you taken a look at, to be honest. Yeah.
Right? Potentially.
So you get the call.
Yeah, so I get the call, and I was, I'm a big also believer that, everything happens for a reason. And I was like, I'm going to consider it. I respected the person that was reaching out to me. John Murray was actually the first person that I ever did a national television show for. Which was? Starting Over.
I was about to ask you about
in
that.
the day.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't realize that you were on that. I was going to ask you about that show because I was like, it reminds me like they were trying to be like Starting Over. And I was young when that first came out. And I loved it. And I still appreciate it for what it was. And that was truly transformational, that show.
That was. And it was pretty breakthrough because it was a daytime show and they hadn't had Real World was the only reference at that point. So I'm a big fan of Buna Murray. They helped me get my start anyway. And then I met the executive producers of the show and I loved them. And the first question I asked them, and I was apprehensive throughout this whole process. I'm going to be straight with you because I really need to understand that the people who I sit with and that the people that I work with are in it for the right reasons. There's many reasons that you can do TV and there's many ways that you can produce a television show. I need to be able to look into your eyes and understand if I'm going to work my ass off, it's because I understand that I've got a team behind me that is also coming together in good faith. I'm not going to...
Laura's team, or are you talking about when you joined with Oxygen? And
my producers, my people at Oxygen, like everybody, tops of the companies, everybody. This is... What could go wrong? This is the biggest franchise in Oxygen's history. The fans are unbelievably voracious and loyal. You drop a life coach in and change everything up. Like, what could go wrong with that? Right. Sure, bring me on. That sounds fun. I'm sure I'm not going to get ripped apart. Right. So my very first question to the EPs was actually the executive producers was, how do you feel about the girls? Like, what I really wanted to know is, do you see them as tools to stories? Do you see them as objects? Do you think that they're jokes? Like, are they the wilder they get, the funnier you think it is? And I didn't have any, that's the only question I asked at lunch. I said, how do you see the girls? And both Trish and Troy, whom I adore, were like, we love them. And we've always just wanted to give them tools. And we've watched them for so many years, and we haven't been able to help.
Why did it take so long? Did they express that? No.
I don't know the answer. But the truth is that everybody on that show felt the same way. They all were in love. Like, I can tell you stories about girls in past seasons. I don't know who they are. But they're infamous amongst the producers in the most positive way. Like, nobody was talking smack to me about these girls. They were all saying, oh, my God, she's hilarious. Oh, my God. So as I'm going through the process, I'm like, there's something, I don't want women to be thrown out for the actions that they take. And if I can help them recognize, and if I can help the audience recognize there are more than potentially their bad behaviors, we are all doing something delicious. And on top of it, let's make some yummy TV. You know what I mean? I mean, like, this is not going to be juicy. So I was in. I was down.
Did you ever, because our biggest issue with it was, now you're a life coach, and
that's a true story.
Within that, you have kind of been based off of self-teachings. Yep. Your mother was a part of the Peace Corps, and your grandmother was...
women's rights activist. Thank you for looking at that.
Yes. So
well done, Jesse.
Well, so you came onto Bad Girls Club. Yeah. Our biggest issue with it is
with it or with me.
Well, no, not you. It.
Yeah.
Because I've gone through depression. I saw a psychologist. I've gone through a lot of different things. I've I mean, every day is obviously a battle once you've gone through depression, but I'm on the other side of the hill, and within that, the thing that it brings me back to times to when I was like that, to see these girls, and okay, I'm nervous for them because like the one thing that fans don't get is they hear us talking about an edited show, but then when I meet the girls and I have a sit-down conversation with them, and you understand why they do it, then I'm fake and I'm a liar because then I'm nice to them and I'm going to get it for talking to you right now too. So, but the reality is what they don't understand is the reason we're seeing this on TV is because of actions. And those actions can be taken and tainted and turned into the story, like you were saying, for the producers. So were you ever hesitant because, you know, I've heard from past girls and whatnot and just other reality shows that producers kind of egg on situations. For you and, you know, keeping your credibility, how did you deal with that situation? Was there a conversation had like, look, I'm going in, I don't want nobody to feed me anything? Or
Nobody touched me.
how did you kind of establish that boundary?
We all established it at once. When the executive team, when we all met and we all sat down, that was 100%. Listen, All Stars is going to be my 5th season heading the coaching of television shows. You know, on top of the fact that I'm over 10 years in a private practice. So I know what's up. I can't do your taxes. I suck at numbers, but I know how to change a life. And I need everybody to step off when I do. You know, any interruption is going to mess up my process because it is based in, it is absolutely intuitive. I need to be able to play. I need to be able to push. I need to be able to do whatever it is that I do and what that vibe is in that session. So there was no oxygen, hands off, Buna Murray, hands off. The only thing that they would say is, how can we support you? True story. True story. Even to the point, the most painful part about doing this whole show, to be completely honest with you, is watching it back. I heard those stories, but watching my girls, like, I mean, pickle juice. Really, baby? Like when Britt
Did you know any of that stuff going on in between?
Everything, but I didn't. When you don't see your girls, and when you have to visualize it in your own head. So I love them. So I'm going to, even when they're telling me these stories, I'm not going to see it as like, as raunchy as what it looked like on TV, you know? And the other thing is that when you are pushing somebody to have a transformation, you need to credit them with every minor step along the way. Like, you'll see scenes in which I'm saying congratulations to somebody where you're like, she just did that, you know? Like, even at the end with Blue, you know, they threw Alex out. Awful. But yet she stepped up for her friend, Lo. Beautiful. And I love that you brought that up because that was But that's a delicate dance for me. And it's just like, I mean, why do we go off diets? Because we believe that if we eat a hot dog one day that we need to crucify ourselves. No. If you ate the hot dog but you didn't eat 5,000 fries, you're still doing good. You know, we all need to be able to take credit and get credit for like the positive steps that we make. So a long story to your very simple question, completely hands off until the Red situation.
Why? What kind of happened
Because security was called. And you know what's funny? Do you know what's funny? Tasty, my guy, so our sound guy's name is Tasty. True story, I don't even know his real name. I don't know, it might be Jonathan.
All right, Tasty.
Taste. Love you. But Tasty was like, no, you had it. We didn't need security.
Really?
And I was like, we had it. Red and I had it. Because Red and I, no matter how, it was intense. It was probably even more intense than it looked on TV. It was flippin' tense. But she, at the end of the day, is still a lover. She, at the end of the day, still is
you can see that.
In struggle, wanting to do better. She wouldn't have touched me.
Right.
No way.
Interesting you say wanting to do better because, you know, obviously, you know, you're not going to heal within a day or week or whatnot for something that's been happening your whole life. With the Red situation, you know, the girls had this vision in their head of Red, and then it kind of flipped into you're an actress, you're acting. Did you see any of that acting? Or maybe you could explain, you know, I could see how the girls thought it was acting, but it was actually this. Like, because it's hard to base it off of an edited show, and we haven't had Red in to kind of read off it, but the interviews I've seen of Red are very different than who I saw in the house. So,
in what way?
I felt like she was I felt like when she was in that house, it came off like she turned into a child. Like facial expressions, the way she was interacting with the girls, it turned into like, okay, we're on the you know, the playground. I got to be this person, and it was instant. Yeah. And because at first I thought she was gonna be my favorite, and then it turned into this whole like, okay, girl, you're getting a little too much now. Yeah. So in the interviews, she sounds very well educated. It sounds like she wouldn't have a fight with anybody or anything. But then you hear what happens on BGC 13, and you're like,
I think it's just probably her trying to, you know, have it as a jump off into a different career, and that was her moment to shine, and she took advantage of it.
So you're saying you felt it was a little acting?
Yeah. I mean, no one goes around acting like that in their normal life.
Oh, really?
Well, no, I'm just saying.
People you need to come to box.
That would be exhausting. Like they would have to sleep 14, 15 hours a day with that much energy going around.
In that house.
I know, but that's what I wanted to say. Is I think that Bad Girls House is a playground for all of that stuff. I mean, you're going back to 4th grade, you're going back to high school, you're going back to, I mean, you saw what was going down in that house. So did she look like she was over responding like when I was watching it back? I mean, sure. But absolutely, and I'm going to say this clearly, absolutely every single girl in that house was not keeping it 100 all the time. It is impossible. It is a bad girls club. Yeah. There's politics going on. There are friendships going down. You have to protect yourself. You can come in and cuddle with me and we can be beautifully vulnerable and you can be crying your face off and you can leave me and go into interview and be like, whore, you know, about me.
Right. Did you ever talk to the girls about that though? Specifically, like, okay, look, because I can just imagine poor Asia just coming into your room like, shocked, like, girl, this is the, did you kind of have that conversation with her of explaining what this house does to people? Or?
Sure. I mean, that was the undertone of every conversation, but what I wanted from each of the girls, okay, so I had a couple of roles in this. Like I had a couple of goals in this, really. The first is to strengthen the weakest girls and to get them talking and speaking up for themselves.
And you had never met Lindsay, right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
I was. That would have been so exciting.
You would have had to ask for a raise with that
I
one.
Would. I know.
Okay, but sorry.
Well, I wanted to know, like, do you think that the show decided to go the route of getting not going with a therapist, instead going in with a life coach, because of the way that you like to work, and you said you like to prod and use your own ways, like like the moments with Red and the couch, moving over the couch, with Asia with using your fist and all those moments. Because I've personally have had experience with therapists, and I have to say, if I'm sitting in that room, I know exactly. If I was in a room and I'm feeling very vulnerable, and that happened, it would be kind of an invasion of my space, and would make me feel very uncomfortable.
And it should.
So do you think that there's a reason why they chose to go your route, because they feel like these women would not maybe respond the way that they would like to for television?
Well, let's pull that back. Let's pull that back for a second, because one, you would feel uncomfortable, and two, I wouldn't apologize for it.
Right.
Do you want to change your life, or do you want to sit and talk about your daddy issues? Because I will. But it is going to take us a very long time, and frankly, I'm bored.
Right.
And does it? Did I push Red to the limit? Of course I pushed Red to the limit. But you know what? At that point, it was clear I never had her. I wasn't losing her. I never had her. She thought I was a joke. I knew she thought I was a joke. She would placate me when I was in the room with her. And it was both exerting my, it was letting her know what was going down. And it was also, we pushed each other to the brink. I mean, she is a powerful, powerful girl. What you saw didn't even hold water to what actually went down. I mean, before I even started moving closer to her, I sat on the farthest end of the farthest couch. And she was the one that said, please sit over here. And then I went to touch her, because as she was being soft, I went to touch her and I pulled my hand back, because I mean, we just had that explosion. Right. And she's like, no, I need to learn how to do this. And it was Red that was, when you get pushed, if you want it, if you don't want it, If you don't want it, I am the worst person you could possibly work with.
Right.
Swear to you. If you are fine on your goal and you actually want a transformation, you will love to have me around. You want to fake it? I'm not your girl.
All right, great segue to Blue.
Okay.
I want to talk to you about this because after hearing you say that,
Yeah.
and understanding that the girls, I'm assuming, had to sign their little contract and have an understanding of what you were going to approach them with. So with Blue, the problem that I felt with the episode was the whole coming out scene with Family Day. So before we get to that, kind of tell us,
I'm glad you're bringing that up.
when you first met Blue.
Yeah.
We'll just use Blue out of all. I want you to, how long did you have with the girls during your sessions? Was it an hour? Was it longer than that?
It really depends.
How often did you see them?
It really depends. I mean, in the beginning, I would say it's like a 45-minute to an hour conversation. There were sometimes with Britt, I'd be like, I'm not going to compliment your
20 minutes later.
It
okay,
was 20
over.
minutes. It truly was 20 minutes, and I was like, outie. There's only so many times I can say your manicure is cute. Which, by the way, Britt and I are very tight now. Like, we talk on the phone, like we email back and forth. Like,
I feel like Britt is the type of person that needed you to reach out after the show to know that you were real.
100%. 100%. But you know what? Who wouldn't?
No, I know, because I would
it's
sit
TV.
there. But not only that, but even when I saw a therapist, I would say to him, "You're only listening because I'm paying you money."
Exactly. But don't we feel that way about everybody in our lives? Like, what are you using me for? Like, what are you getting out of it?
I used to until I had that therapist, and then I thought that, and then my friends stepped their role up.
Nice.
And I've been very selective about who I have in my life for that reason.
There you go.
So with Blue, you had 45 minutes. What was her
45 minutes an hour, yeah.
What was her initial goal of what she said she wanted to fix?
I mean, I think Blue,
did she say that? I know it was her daddy issues, but did she say that, I don't know how to, was it a commitment thing with Blue? Was that something that she wanted to work on?
I think the word commitment is getting overplayed on this show. How I would describe Blue to you is magic. I told her that. She does. You guys met her. She is magic, that girl, right?
Very charismatic.
The interesting part about having magic is that you can use it for good and you can use it for manipulation. And one of the things that she was well aware of is that she has that ability. So what I wanted her to do was stand up for her truth, regardless of what it looked like. Whether it was inside of relationships, that's why it was a big deal that she came in with Red, by the way. I knew she wasn't playing with Red. But the fact that she cared enough, now again, I wasn't seeing the interviews, right? But the fact that she cared, this is the sweetest Blue moment. As a matter of fact, this is my favorite Blue moment. Favorite. So the fact that she brought Red in and sat there, I actually looked over at Blue before, we let her go out of the room. And I was like, Red and I really appreciate you being here. This is a big deal. And before, Blue was very confident and very cocky. And anytime she would do something, she's like, all right, then I don't need to see you anymore. I was like, baby, you did not pass the final exam. These are little quizzes. So she was in a situation with Red. And I was like, this is a big deal because she was standing up for somebody she didn't care for. That is about commitment. Commitment is about telling your truth and doing what's right when you know that you can muddy the waters. Yep. She could have just stirred the pot and made Red look ridiculous in that moment. It's not that she could make her look ridiculous, but she could have stirred the pot. Instead, she chose to help the situation. And so I looked over at Blue and I said, this was a big deal. And she said, so I passed a quiz. I was like, you did, baby. And it was just the cutest, sweetest. And that was the thing about commitment. Now, yes, there was Diamond and there was Asia. And often, what happens, just like when we talk about sex in a relationship, or we talk about food, or we talk about money, it's the easiest thing to talk about.
Right.
But what was underlining that was telling your truth. And what was underlining that is using your magic for good and not for manipulation. That's what was going down with Blue.
And I want to get back into the manipulation. We're going to talk about, obviously, tonight's episode. But before we do, let's lead to what we were just talking about, the Blue with Family Day. So there was a moment with Blue, her mom, and you where you alluded to her lifestyle. And it kind of just threw everyone off track, and Blue kind of got scared, and Blue probably made it more awkward than you did for the mom to be like, wait, what you mean your lifestyle?
Yeah.
But was there a conversation before being had where Blue felt like she was comfortable with that, or, you know, for that kind of to open up? Or did you just feel like, I mean...
It didn't happen.
What didn't happen?
That situation did not happen.
What didn't happen?
I'm a professional life coach. My job is based on keeping security. I am there to protect my clients. I was screwed so many times in the household because I never could tell anybody what the other person was. You know how easy it would flip and be to be like, well, she said this. What do you think of that? Like, I needed to play coy the entire time. The parents' weekend was going to be a landmine because my girls know I'm not going to say jack unless I get permission. What was going down was Alex was there with her family and Blue was there with her family, and everybody was very interested in Blue. And everybody wanted, because Blue was the leader of the house at that point. I mean, whatever you want to say, that girl was leading, right? Like her yumminess and all. I don't know why I just did this. She never should have.
But it gave that.
It was, right? And so everybody was asking about, oh, well, Blue, what are you working on? And I was stalling for her and saying, well, she's deepened. I said deepened. You know, she's, you know, deepening her relationships in the house, meaning like she's standing up for Red. What I told you before about what commitment is. There is no way in hell, and let me be 100% flippin' clear, there is no way in hell I would ever touch sexuality or anything that is a private matter behind closed doors. No way. And the thing that pissed me off about it, to be quite frank with you, is that there wasn't much of a reaction to it. As though people have the right to out other people. Right. Like, I was almost pissed that people weren't pissed at me.
Well, I was.
Yeah,
because
well,
the
you
way
should be.
the way it was edited was like.
But it wasn't just an edited thing. Like, it was. Listen, there was insinuations. I saw the promo, babe, and I DM Blue. I mean, I have the text. I DM Blue, and I was like,
did this happen like this,
babe? Because I was shocked because I know me. I know me, and I was like, babe, I need you to understand, like, I would have never crossed that line. We would have never talked about your sexuality. Like, nothing. I don't even give up about sexuality, you know? And she wrote back saying, I know your heart. I never thought you did. You know, we've always been on good terms. You know, you saw the finale. You think that we would have had that response to each other if she thought I was trying to out her? Do you think she would come and like greet me at the door and we would be all lovey-dovey if she thought that I was just about to like unveil her?
When she was here, she spoke very highly of you.
I love her. I love her. That's not, no.
But I do remember her saying that her mother already kind of knew.
Had an idea of it, but she didn't ever entertain the conversation because she knew how her family would react to it.
Well, and Blue was always very clear in behind the scenes. Blue was always or behind the door. She was always very clear that once her mom saw the footage, that it was going to be an easy conversation to have, and that the conversation wasn't going to be such a big conversation anyway. But there was no way. One, there is no way that I would instigate that. And if I did, it would be under very specific, safe, calculated reasons. I would have permission. I would have a safe environment. I wouldn't have a random... She doesn't like Alex, which I like Alex. Let me just say that. But she happened not to like Alex. So Alex is there. Alex's family is there. And what I'm going to have, I'm throwing a coming out party? No way.
Well, I appreciate you coming on here and clearing that up for us because
I'm sorry.
That was definitely an issue.
For me, it came off like that. Maybe it's a sensitive subject,
but
it was a conversation that definitely am glad that we were able to clear up.
I'm sure a lot of people out there too are glad to hear that and to know that now.
Yeah. Well, I was on the floor. I mean, I have helped families with any kind of transformation you can imagine. I was speechless. Like, what? No. Never. Never.
Well, thank you for your honesty coming on here and being open with us. Okay, did you get to
thanks
what?
for being pissed, by the way.
You're welcome.
But but truly, because I think that's a good part about the show too, is that even in that situation, yes, there were insinuations and it did look like a storyline, but it's not like it's crafty. The people behind the scenes, and I just want to be really clear about that too. It's not like cast against producers. Everybody's on the same team here. The producers aren't trying to create something and like kind of shit stir. Everybody is on the same team. It's just that how it got played out, how that specific situation got played out was less than appetizing. Shall we say?
A little bit. All right. Tonight's episode, Smell You Later. Yeah. Let's talk about it. So the girls come home from vacation, and Blue tells Lo that Slim said her pussy stinks, and that basically Lo is dumb. And of course, that's going to set Lo off, because ain't no one going to tell Lo that she smells or that she is not queen, empress, goddess.
I guess she wasn't thinking about wearing her skirt as you had instructed her to do.
Here's what I'm going to say, though. I do have to say, Lo is one of my favorites on the show.
She's adorable.
I'm actually impressed that she did not beat Slim's ass in the shower.
Isn't it amazing what you give credit for? Me too.
No,
right? Me too.
I'm like, you know what? Throw her shit outside. Throw it outside.
There's people just, I know. I look at this stuff too, and I was like, why am I saying this is okay? I was like, oh, did she hit her? You know what I mean, right? It's funny.
And she didn't.
I was nervous for Alex because you're
too.
in the shower. It's like when you're the most vulnerable, and like it's like, can I put some clothes on first before we do this? Like,
of course.
I was very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was very.
Yeah, and then Blue was just like.
But then here's my problem. I really want to like Slim. Not that I don't like her, but she keeps doing these things where it's just like, girl, just talk, say it. Like, she's in this mind state. Everyone is against her, and I can understand with
her background.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Where that comes from.
Yeah.
What irritates me with this, she seemed like the most open to you, being like, okay, I'm excited. I want you to work with me. Why? I feel like instead of growing, she actually kind of went backwards.
We didn't get into her story a lot.
From what we've seen on this.
That's true. So, viewers have really good insights, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you. You do. You really do. It is true. She did regress, really. In the beginning, we had a fired up meeting, a great meeting, where she was talking about her family not necessarily feeling comfortable, that she was on BGC, like all this other stuff. And I think what went down was exactly what you were talking about earlier, is that when you get pushed up against the wall, you're going to retreat or you're going to fight. And unfortunately, the Bad Girls Club is a club in which you need to fight, not necessarily physically fight, but you need to take a stand. And that's not really her thing. It's just not her thing. Do you know? I mean, I think that she comes from a background in which being pleasant is enough, and in the Bad Girls Club, pleasant is going to get you pickle juiced. You know? I've seen a lot of the flip-flopping and fake and all of these sorts of comments, but what I have to say about Alex is that she was consistently Alex. She was trying. And like we said earlier, like, this is 4th grade, 7th grade, junior high, high school. Like, this is like crappy bullying. And when I saw how the girls were treating her, by the way, would you blame her?
Okay, no, not in that sense. But that's not what irritates me with Alex, her reaction to the other girls. That's not. What irritates me is the situation with Jada, because did we miss something? Did we miss something? Because the way it came off was Alex, when she's in a position, she was with all the girls, everyone was vibing on their vacation, having a good time, and it came off like, and I could see this because of Alex's background and where she's from. She reminds me of someone that I know, but she doesn't feel powerful in this house. But with Jada, she knows, oh, that's my girl, that's Jada, like, and it kind of seemed like she was talking down to Jada and kind of being very dismissive with Jada. I don't understand where that happened. Like, this is the girl, when you were crying, kept coming to you being like, hey, girl. and she always stuck by her side. So for me, that's what irritates me with Alex, because don't be friends with any of these girls in the house, but why are you chasing after them to like you? And then you're leaving the house on bad terms with Jada.
But I think the fact that she was chasing the girls to like her is really the thing that we want to keep in mind. You know, when people are in that situation where they're climbing, they don't feel
trying to carry anyone or pick anyone up.
There you go. And that was uncomfortable for me to watch as well. That really was, especially because Jada is a really good friend and she is loyal to the bone, but I don't think that it was Alex trying to be dismissive of Jada. I think it was Alex trying to find Alex's voice.
Yeah, I don't think it was malicious. I think it was just naturally kind of happening.
Yeah. But it was uncomfortable as hell.
Well, what about the moment with Dahlia? Oh. As soon as Dahlia comes into the house, she sees, oh, wait, all these other girls don't like her. Yeah, don't like her. I'm going to hop in there and not like her too.
That's social politics.
Yeah, it is.
It's social politics and it blows. It really is. And, even if you didn't have any of the fighting at Bad Girls Club and you just took a look at the social politics of it, that would be fired up enough, right?
Honestly, and that's and the thing about it is when we talk about Alex and people get so confused when we're over here talking about Alex, oh, she's so this. At the end of the day, though, I understand why she's doing the things she's doing. So when she comes in here, people, we have a conversation so that I can understand what she was going through. Because I mean, if I was you, I'd be kind of nervous walking into the house. Like, am I gonna get jumped?
If you were literally me going into the Bad Girls Club.
Absolutely.
No way.
Really?
No way. There's no fist that's faster than my mouth. Come on now.
I agree with that, because I have personally never been in a fight. I will talk my way out of anything.
Exactly.
Because I'll make you feel stupid.
Exactly.
But
come on. That would be adorable. Can you imagine? That would be adorable. Seriously.
Plus, security would be on it very quick. They're very quick this season.
Yeah, I know. Seriously,
they were very quick this season.
Like even before, like a first.
I think it was the Atlanta season that really kind of put them like, okay, no, we need security needs to sleep in this house.
They take their their B12. Yeah. Take their magnesium.
Shout out to Lo's cousin, Raisha. For not,
I loved her.
I love that she, she was there for her cousin.
Yeah.
But she didn't get involved with her cousin's drama. So when Lo went in there with Alex, I know some cousins that be like, oh, what? You were saying what about her, bitch?
Right.
In there and jumping her in the shower. Yeah. But she sat there quiet, didn't get into the conversations, just kind of made sure her cousin was good. When her cousin walked away, she walked out. I really liked that.
I loved her. You know what you didn't see is Lo, Raisha, and I had a really beautiful moment in which what Raisha was talking about was having her family not necessarily accepting her, in many ways, and Lo's her family. Mm. So it was this really powerful, Raisha, you need to own your shit. Lo, you need to step off her. Girls, you need to support each other. Like, this is bigger. Like, there's a reason that you guys came into this house together. And Lo was brilliant in this moment. Raisha totally was able to take it, and they had like hugs and love, and actually they didn't, it wasn't like that juicy. They were like, but it was
Dap, yeah, we love you.
Yeah, but it was super powerful.
You like that moment tonight really a lot, the Raisha and
oh yeah, because
you're here, so
with my own personal issues, like
over there,
right?
Well, she spoke very clearly and she was able to just communicate so easily what she said. I feel like something's missing and I don't know what it is. Yeah. And for me, it was the most honest session I've seen you have on the girls' part. I mean, with any of the girls I've seen the entire season. Really? And I would have loved to have had you work with her more.
Yeah.
And you only got her once. Do you feel that you could have really helped her with their issues, or
100%?
Right.
Of course. Mm-hmm. Of course. As a matter of fact, here's the thing, and it goes back again to like what we're talking about, being uncomfortable when somebody's sitting on that couch with you. If you want it and you've got 1.5 times to get it done, you work. Mm-hmm. Right. You work. You find the words. You find the focus. It's when you have this endless amount of time and you get to talk about this and that, and there's nobody pushing you hard enough, you don't.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is there anybody that you wish you had more time with, aside from Raisha? If you had
them.
All of them?
Yeah.
Nobody was a lost cause. I know that's really awful for someone in that profession to say, but like, you know, someone like if you had to work with Lindsay.
I mean, I'd need a lot of time.
Yeah.
A lot of time.
Who did you have?
A
lot of time.
You're all-
Dahlia, or what's her name? Dahlia, whatever her name is.
She's a Chicago girl. I'm a Chicago girl.
Right.
I was like, oh, baby, I'm sorry.
Poor girl.
I
She
am
did.
so sorry. You were like in your town.
It was just like
Leading
feeding meat
lambs to the
lions.
slaughter. It was like Lindsay, Dahlia, and then also Alex, I think, was a little bit like, you know,
Yeah.
lamb to the slaughter.
Yeah.
All right, so Alex gets. Well, she didn't get thrown out. She was just kind of
Peacefully
like,
left.
okay. And what you're
That's hard to see.
It's hard to see, and then this was harder for me to hear. That what she got from Bad Girls Club was that she hates females,
Girls, yeah.
and she thinks that these girls don't know what a bad girl is. I don't think you knew what a bad girl was.
Yeah.
For
And-
this show in particular.
Right. You know, you aren't going to come on this show and change the show.
Right.
You're not in a position to do that. You actually, you know what? You could have. She could have. She actually could have.
Good, because I was swallowing. I'm glad
Yeah.
you're talking about that.
She actually could have.
You're right.
Uh,
If you stood your ground and were a lady, you maintained being a lady, but you just stood your ground more, people would have been able to see you and you would have been a participant in the house.
Yep.
In addition to the fact that you could have led that house.
Yep.
You know, I
Yes.
mean, look at what happened. Look at what happened when Lo did her turnaround.
Yep.
Britt came up to me. She's like, I do not know what you did to that girl, but I am considering very purely meeting with you because whatever you did to that, I want a little bit of it, you know, because it was like when you show better, especially as a woman, you know, especially as like a woman that can hold herself, girls respond to that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I loved it. So Slim goes home, and then you met with all of the girls. You had this moment with Blue where you were kind of like, what are you going to do? Are you going to pick Asia? You're going to pick Diamond? Like, where are you? How are you with Asia? She's like, oh, she's kind of mad at me now. And, you know, we see later that night they go to the club. She's flirting with Harold. Like,
Yeah. Who's Harold?
Right.
Yeah. Right.
And
Harold, get out of the picture.
Asia has this attitude the whole time, and I have this love-hate relationship with Asia because it's just like, I just want to be like, Asia, girl, like, you know what? Exact kind of like what you were doing. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to be like, girl, stop talking to Blue.
Right.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Go off and find. It's a whole big ass club.
It's an affection thing and it's attachment thing. And
she,
I love that Asia opened up and said, you know what? I've never been alone. And that's where it all stems from.
Yeah.
You've never been alone. That's a huge lesson. And I want everyone who's watching this, because I know everyone out here is going to go through it eventually in their life. We all do.
Yeah.
Speak on it.
Yeah, well, you know, what you also didn't get to see, and this is another shout out to the producers, what you also didn't get to see is the intense backstory of these girls. You got to understand who they are and where they came from. But some of those nitty gritty details, they were kind enough to give us the space to work through it and then give you enough story where you're going to understand. But I will tell you, even her background would say that this is that attachment that you're talking about is something that was pretty severe for Asia. I will tell you, like, you saw me working both sides. Like, I was working that thing, you know. I really felt that if Asia leaving the house could give herself the freedom to say, I demand that I get treated better, that would be huge. But there were things that Asia did throughout the house that were those huge stepping stones. She did make huge. Oh my God. Oh my God. She had me bawling, which obviously is not that
And how is she
difficult.
now? Have you spoken to her since the show ended?
She's great. She's amazing.
Is she single? Is she making more strides to be independent and
independent
stand up
thing-
for herself?
That's hard to get over quickly, though.
But what she is doing is she's having, she definitely is in a place of greater self-love. She's definitely speaking out on her independence. She is, yeah. I mean, I think she went through a huge metamorphosis. When I watched the show, I will say that you might not get how tangible the changes were. Like, you could see in Lo.
For some of the girls.
Like, you could see in Lo, she swung and now she's not swinging.
Right.
Asia was huge. Jada was huge.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
That last scene tonight with Lauren and Jada. You know, we were sitting there like,
It's gonna be
what's gonna
awkward.
happen? I was like, I think they might give hugs. I think that, you know, and okay, you guys didn't do hugs, but just the fact of, you know what, look, I don't fuck with you, you don't fuck with me. Like, why are we gonna be fake about it? Like, pound it. I respect you, sisters. You know, move on.
Right.
I loved it.
Loved it. Yeah. Jada Hughes.
So you tell Blue, pick Asia, pick Diamond. Want you to make a decision, and come clean to Diamond. Now, when we had Blue here last week, Blue came out. We were talking, kind of talking about what was your mindset with these girls? And she said, I love Asia. She's just caught up in her feelings right now. So for me, it's kind of like, is Asia still thinking about this Blue thing? I mean, it's probably hard having to watch it over. It's probably hard with everyone tweeting, oh my God, I love Asia and Blue together. Yeah. Team Diamond. I'm sure that's really hard.
Yeah.
Does she understand the idea that this is a show? And when you're put in that situation and you have these types of issues, you're going to attach yourself to somebody in the house. And that relationship, although it was real, it's not anymore. Because Blue doesn't want to fix herself right now, and she's focused on whatever.
I think she gets it.
She does?
I think she gets it. As a matter of fact, I think she was getting it while she was in the house. I just think that it was more convenient. I mean, there was even a bite where she was saying something like, I just have 24 hours left. I'm just going to enjoy myself. And I think that was also, again, you put yourself in a time situation where you've got 3 days to count down. Like, is this the day that you're going to want to break up with your girlfriend?
Right.
Probably not.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
When she's in the hot tub with another housemate.
But notice she was standing up for herself.
Yeah.
She was standing up for herself. There was a lot of times that Asia was calling her out. Now, let's get back to Blue's Magic. That's when Blue's Magic comes in, because that girl can talk herself out of a box, right? I mean, I was transfixed with her too. I adore Blue. We had a great gamesmanship between us. We really loved the ping pong back and forth. But she can spit.
She can.
She can. And she's also very loving. I don't think it's not coming from like a fake place. Nope. You can see that she's a good soul, a real soul when you're around her. Well, you guys got to experience her.
Yeah, and I totally see that. It's just what did you say? You said at the end of the day, she's just single, she's young.
Yeah,
this is what she's going to do right now.
She wants to have a good time.
And that's fine, as long as she understands that some of the things that she's doing stem from an issue in the past. And as long as it doesn't continue to a certain age.
Right. And it's what you said also to respect other people's feelings.
That's where I had it too.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it was like, well, why did she, I was confused as to why she needed to choose. She didn't need to choose, but she did need to realize that the way that she was manipulating the situations, it was making people think things that were not actually true.
Exactly. And you know what? I agree with you. When I was watching it, I would have liked me to have said that differently as well. And I think you said it better than I did. I think that what I was really asking her to do was to respect the people in her life as opposed to make a decision.
Right.
It's less about the decision and more about, let's be honest and real and recognize that there are people who are attached to you. So step back.
Yeah.
Well, I pray. Well, I mean, she's with Jen now, so they look happy and committed.
They do look happy.
So
they do. See?
God bless
Blue
that.
Magic.
Done.
And hopefully we got to move forward.
You're welcome.
Okay, we saw Britt wasn't very responsive to your counseling, and Red had her issues at times. Other than those two, who was kind of the hardest person for you to break into?
I think every girl.
Really?
Oh my gosh. I mean, Asia stayed pretty consistently open with me. Oh yeah. I mean, we fought. We worked, and we didn't fight against each other, but I'm saying we fought for these transformations. These were not light. Even Jada and I have an amazing relationship and a great trust built, and she would even push back on me because it's uncomfortable. It's just what you said in the beginning. We're always going to use that. That was the best opening. But it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable when somebody is constantly on you to change, and constantly, even when you feel like you're doing right. Understand too, these are not women who have people saying no. These are all women who rule the roost, whether people are afraid of them, whether people don't know them, whether people don't care, a million reasons why. But nobody has ever been in their face before demanding that they live their truth. I mean, sounds a little cheesy, but...
No, but I mean, it's very important for people to understand, I think, that phrase and that sentence, living in your truth. Because sometimes we are living in the past, sometimes we're living in the future,
right.
but we're always in the present. And that's when you get caught up in your feelings and
100.
your emotions. And I will say, after watching this, all the kind of like little things that the girls picked up, I think are great. I love this because, like you said, reality TV. The reason I do these after shows, I have fun with the ratchetness of it, but it's mostly because I don't want someone else coming in here talking.
Oh my God.
Laura's cell phone's going off.
I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God. This one time happened. I was co-hosting with Dr. Drew for a couple of months, and it was just a wonderful opportunity, and I was really grateful for it. And I was stuck in a room, and he's like looking, and I was like,
who's gonna answer? So you guys, you like just
nice
stay silent and see
tune.
if like, is that your alarm or someone trying to reach you?
I ain't gonna get all up in her purse.
Who this?
Here at AFTERBUZZ TV, we really, want to get to know you.
they're probably like calling about this. Can you ask that guy?
Okay, so
You're on that show.
we have Jada. I love this because transformational TV. So that's why I do this, because I don't want someone coming in here and promoting the ratchetness in the ratchet sense. We have to learn something from it. I don't mind watching ratchetness on TV as long as we're going to learn something from it. So Jada said something that was very powerful today. I finally thought I knew myself, and a lot of us think we know ourselves until you hit that wall, that rock bottom, and then she said, I saw how people see me.
Right.
And that, that's something I've had to go through in my life. And so to hear her say that, that's like really a milestone to acknowledge that. And that end scene between her and Lauren, as simple as it was a very powerful scene for two girls who are firecrackers.
I agree.
I never thought that was going to happen. I was like, oh, they're probably going to find something to argue about in the last 10 minutes.
Jada would have hugged her.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
She's
and
a
been
lover.
done with it.
She's a lover.
Yep.
She's a lover. It's Jada has said a lot of powerful things throughout the season, and I think that look at when she had said to Alex when they were at the hot tub, and she was like, I feel like, and whatever she was saying, I was like, this is the most eloquent, beautiful thing. Like, you're not even getting angry, baby. Yep. Like, I was immensely proud of her throughout, and I will say she deserves every bit of respect. She earned that change. She earned that change. I mean, I know you saw the punching of the couch, but that does not even touch the work that Jada put into that. Does not even touch it. There were times, remember when she was getting bullied and she was alone in that house, and she just started, in with her rhymes, and it was like anything that she could do, all she wanted to do was better herself. It was just amazing.
And I honestly feel that, yes, a lot of the other girls had a transformation, but with Jada, I felt like she came there to do the work.
Yeah.
I feel like she came there because she wanted to better herself, because she knew she was going down a path that didn't really have anything for her.
Yeah.
And now she's on a better path.
Right.
Because on her interview, she said that she never thought about rapping before. Yep. Yeah. And then while she was in Chicago, that's when that started, Yeah. It was mind-blowing. I'm really proud of her.
I think that's an interesting point, too, that Lowe's transformation, for example, I really think happened by accident.
Really?
Oh, I mean, it did not happen by accident by me. Like, I was like...
Her understanding it?
Yes.
Why?
Because there was no indication at all, none, that she had any desire to have any sense of change at all. No indication. Okay. None. Like, it wasn't even like, oh, people are seeing me poorly. Like, you're right. Jada came
it was
in,
almost like a shock. Like, people see me poorly.
Yeah, but it was...
You got a problem?
Right.
And then she stays on a chair and just like, you got a problem?
Yeah.
You got a problem?
I know. And that too.
Oh, gosh, she's
that
hilarious.
too. But in watching it, I was like, wait, what? Because I only see these girls in, like, on a couch, like, we're talking, crying, like, speaking, like... country whooping what?
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
I think it would have been really, really helpful with your sessions with them if the producers would have allowed you to see some of the video so that you could call out
Were you?
No.
Didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, you watched it after the fact you're saying. Okay.
I watched it on TV.
Okay.
Yeah. So that you could call out specific examples of
You're right.
of whatever behavior you were trying to change.
So it was, you're right. But there's another philosophy that we went with, and that's what we wound up going with in both seasons. And that was really to allow the girls to bring to the table exactly what they needed. And that would have been easier.
I like it because it puts responsibility on the girls.
It puts responsibility on the girls.
And they don't
me.
feel you're judging them.
No, and it's also, I'm not coming to them with any motive. I'm not coming to them with anything. I'm coming to them pure. They're coming to me pure.
Right.
That's why it got so heated. And that's why it got so, because we were, like
Working from scratch.
100%. And they were also like, for everything I was trying to dig in, they were also trying to like frame the story. So half of my job was to figure out like what was going on, what story and what's real, you know? But yeah, that would have been easier.
Would have added an extra little layer of drama.
Yeah.
So on that note, Lauren and Jada were the last girls. Lauren realizes she's just got to be ABC, always be classy. And on that note, we're going to be classy and head to predictions.
Predictions are classy.
And
We're going to
now,
have really classy
you're
predictions.
Okay.
For next week's really classy episode.
Now we'll be sipping tea.
Of course, we have to have our 3-part reunion.
I know.
The middle
right.
one is always non-essential.
No, I feel like I hate the first one.
Oh yeah, that's
Really?
right. The
Oh.
exposition
There's
of
so
it.
much, like, setup.
It's like they're sitting at the hotel like, what?
How you doing, girl? Oh, you look cute.
Right.
Oh, I'm about to bust her ass, and it's like, and then it's done. It's like enough.
Oh, security is just perched up on stage at the reunion. They're like, we ain't taking no games. Everyone's coming at Jada now. She's fake. Britt versus Jada. Tanisha calls out Britt saying, you had all these problems with Jada, but you ain't do nothing. Right. And so Britt gets up and wants to go fight.
Diamond versus Asia.
Diamond versus...
Oh.
And then Tanisha's holding someone's weave.
And then she offers someone pizza again with I had this thing with Tanisha. I don't care
She does
for
too many
her
fat jokes.
Food fat joke thing, and it's yeah.
Well, you won't go worry about that for season 13. Blue's mom finds out that she's a lesbian, and that is pretty some deep at a reunion. I'd be like, not happening.
I'm sure they had a discussion before. I'm sure just maybe she's just playing it up a little bit. I mean, you had to.
Those things are like 13 hours long.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Were you at the reunion? Did you?
Yeah.
You come out?
I'm like,
Spoiler alert! Spoiler.
I
alert.
know. Yeah.
Well, okay. Deep. Well, give us a very foggy spoiler as far as you're in BGC 13 working with the All-Stars.
Yeah.
What was that like? Now you've already done season 12. Mm-hmm. You've already have realized like, I love these girls. Like now you're approached with, no, these are All-Stars. So these are girls who have had the fame, have been on some seasons multiple times. Like they already have this, they know who they are.
Yeah.
What was that like for you to go in there to deal with people who have this TV presence of I'm a bad girl, this is what I am, no therapist, nobody's gonna come up in here and tell me who I am. Yeah. What was that like?
You should be a bad girl.
Yeah,
I should.
You should be a bad girl.
I'm a little too old for it.
Let's go and drag.
It doesn't matter. Like you would be an adorable bad girl.
I would clock these bitches.
I know you would. I was like, I don't know if I could be on that show. They were amazing. Listen, I am used to dealing with strong. My clients are strong personalities. They are the top in their business. They are top celebrities. They are top strong people. So strong personalities, like, come on in.
You're offered
Come on in. And at the end of the day, I think what you're going to see of these girls is something you have never seen before. I think you're going to get to know them on a level that you would have never known. Like, they are all-stars. Every single last one of them, they are all-stars.
They prove themselves.
Without question. And you know that I don't think all-stars prove themselves by, like, clocking each other around, I mean, there is plenty of intense drama and all of the other kind of stuff, but they can stand. So
we're going to see growth within these girls.
It's powerful. It's powerful. It was powerful.
I hope there's like a Pretty Woman makeover transit thing too. That would be awesome.
They're pretty cute.
A little Pretty Woman montage. No, just to de-ratchify. A tad.
Well, all right. Well, Laura, I want to thank you for coming in today. Where can all of your fans, or new founding fans, tweet you? And you have a website too.
I do, and they're both at
AskLauraBarron.com and then on Twitter. Are you on Instagram yet? You're not on Instagram because actually I tweeted it through Instagram and I was like, oh, that's a blank page.
Sorry.
Chevonne.
At Chevonne_Hughes.
And you guys can hit me up at DJ Jesse J. Also, make sure you guys hit us up at AfterBuzz TV on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And we will be back next week with part 1 reunion of Bad Girls Chicago. So until next week, same time, same place. Peace.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later, bitches!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.